Hello, my name is Tony Beers, and this is Movie Grades.
And just like the movies, we play out our last scene.
Hello everybody, Tony Beers here again. And in this episode of Movie Grades, I'm going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014 in 3D.
In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014, New York City is terrorized by the Foot, and it is up to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to stop them. Warning, there will be spoilers in this review.
Now, I didn't really want to see this movie because of the previews. Just made it look terrible. But it was recently my sister's birthday, and she wanted to see it, so I figured I'd go with her, and that way I could see it, and I could give it a chance, And as you could tell, I saw it in 3D, and this was cool that we got these 3D glasses. It says Ninja Turtles on the side, and real 3D on the other side. And it was nice. I went with 4 people, well, including me. There was 4 people. Like I said, my sister went, and she got the red glasses, and it's funny because there was the 4 of us. I'm like, okay, we could get all 4. So she got the red, I got the blue, my other friend got purple, but for some reason, my 4th friend they gave him regular 3D glasses. They gave him black 3D glasses, so that's kind of a bummer that we could have had all 4, but we didn't. Now, as I said, I was not looking forward to this movie. I thought it was going to be awful, and okay, I'll just say it. It's a bad movie. But I'm a fair man, and I give credit where credit's due, so I'll tell you the good first. The best thing about this movie is that they got the Turtles' personalities pretty much just spot on. Leonardo's the leader, and he's the more mature, responsible one. Raphael's the tough one, the loner. He's kind of the Wolverine type character. He even kind of looks like Wolverine when he puts his size through his hands. Michelangelo, he's the jokester. He's the fun-loving one. And Donatello is the nerdy guy. He's the inventor. So they got the personalities just right. Another good thing about this movie is the action. It has really good action. There's nice fight scenes that turn out pretty well. The best action scene in the movie is there's a scene where they're going down a mountain, and it's pretty intense, and it lasts pretty long, and there's stuff happening all the time. So it's a really exciting action scene. And another good thing is the special effects, the CGI animation. Now, let's not confuse that with the way the Turtles looks, because the Turtles look, butt fugly. They look awful. Now, see, there's a difference between CGI, the actual animation behind it, and the character design. So see, the animation is actually pretty good. The look of the character is not so much. You believe that the Turtles are right there talking to April. So as far as that goes, it's good. And you saw me wearing the 3D glasses at the beginning of this review, and the 3D is really good. I have to give it credit. It's some of the better 3D I've seen in a while. And there's a scene in the movie which I really liked, which I've noticed in a lot of other reviews that a lot of people are liking this scene too, so I was like, cool, okay, these people like the same thing I did. It's one of the best scenes in the movie, and it's getting a lot of attention, and it's the elevator scene where they're all in the elevator, and they're about to go up to fight Shredder on the roof, and Mikey, all of a sudden, he just starts banging his chucks together, and he starts making music, and then Raphael starts clanging his size together, and then Donatello is like hitting his bow against the elevator. So then Leonardo, who he's kind of the reluctant one, starts clanging his katana together. What makes this a good scene is one, it's funny. 2, it shows that they're brothers and they're all connecting, and even, the Leonardo is the leader and he's the more mature one. He's still a teenager, and then he still gets into the music. And it also, and they're kind of bonding as brothers, and they're also kind of getting ready for the fight. They gotta fight Shredder, so they're kind of pumping themselves up for the fight, And the other thing is that it kind of goes a different way than what you're expecting. It starts off with Mikey, of course, doing it, and you're thinking, oh, okay, they're just gonna say, okay, shut up, Mikey, quit it. You're acting stupid. But instead, they just kind of join in. I like this. It shows their camaraderie. I probably messed that word up, and their brotherhood, and that they're bonding. This movie could have done with a lot more scenes like this. Okay, now on to the bad, and believe me, there's a lot of bad to this movie. And the thing is that this story is just way too convenient, and what I mean by that is the origin story, especially, because it turns out that in this version, April's father was experimenting on the turtles, and she is there with him, and she is the one that names them, because it's called Project Renaissance or something like that. So she names them after the Renaissance painters, and I believe she names Splinter too, which I don't know what Splinter has to do with the Renaissance. How she got that name, I don't know. And then she feeds him pizza and stuff, and I'm like, come on, really, people? And not only that, it says that Sax who's the guy that worked with her father, they say that he was adopted by the Shredders, so everything just fits way too conveniently. I started thinking, why don't they just go this one step further and say that April grew up living next door to Casey Jones, and Shredder grew up when he was a kid. He had a pet rhino and warthog, and he named him Bebop and Rocksteady. See how ridiculous that sounds? Once I say it, but that's what they did with this movie. They made everything so convenient. There is no, I believe his name is Amato Yoshi in this movie. In the comic book, Hamato Yoshi raised Splinter as his pet. In the cartoon show, Splinter was Hamato Yoshi, and in both versions, Hamato Yoshi has a rivalry with Oroku Saki, and in this one, there's no Hamato Yoshi, so they can't have that rivalry, and it doesn't really make sense that Splinter would hate Shredder like this. I mean, he narrates the movie in the beginning, and in the middle, he tells their origin story. And this is one thing that he tells the turtles to gotta look out for the Shredder. I'm like, in this movie, he doesn't react at all with the Shredder before becoming Splinter. At least that I can remember. I mean, correct me if anybody want to correct me if I'm wrong, but I was like, there's no point where Splinter when he's just a rat. Interacts with the Shredder. I mean, he should be telling these turtles, you should be watching out for this Sax guy, because he's the one who killed April's father and tried to kill the turtles. So I don't know why he tells them to look out for the Shredder. And since there's no Hamato Yoshi, Splinter doesn't learn ninjutsu from Hamato Yoshi, or he doesn't learn it himself, as Hamato Yoshi. So how does he learn ninjutsu? From a book that he just happens to find in the sewer. And I don't even know if anyone can actually learn ninjutsu from a book. I don't even think that's possible. And again, this goes back to what I was saying about convenience. Oh, it just happened to be a book right down there in the sewer. And for some reason, after reading this book, Splinter just kind of adopts like the Japanese culture, even though he has nothing to do with it. I mean, he starts growing a Fu Manchu mustache, starts wearing the robes and stuff. It's like, okay, he was raised in a lab by April in America, so why would he adopt the Japanese culture? I mean, it makes sense in the comics and the cartoons because, like I said, Hamato Yoshi came from Japan or raised Splinter in Japan, so that would make perfect sense. Here, it doesn't make any sense at all. And talking about not making sense, a lot of this story just doesn't make sense. For example, there's a scene where April first meets the turtles, and she's got her cell phone out and she was taking pictures of them, and so they, since they don't want to be noticed, they take her cell phone. Well, she faints, so they take her cell phone, and Donnie erases the pictures that she took on her cell phone. And Raphael's like, well, we should have just smashed it, And then Leonardo's like, we don't smash things. So they just give the cell phone back to April. Oh, the pictures are deleted, so that's fine. We can give it back to her. But what does she do as soon as she gets the camera back? She starts taking pictures of them again. So it's like, just erasing those pictures, that was completely pointless, Donatello. You guys should have destroyed the camera. And speaking of that cell phone, when Leonardo said, we don't break stuff, I'd like to see you count how much stuff they break in this movie. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, Leonardo says, we don't break stuff, but I remember one point at the end of the movie, Vern gets a new car and Michelangelo blows it up with a missile, but we don't break stuff. and we couldn't break a cell phone, but we can blow the hell up of a car. Now to get to the look of the turtles, which as many people have said, it is pretty bad. I mean, these turtles, as I said before, are butt fugly turtles. They look awful. I mean, they got these kind of smaller heads and these huge chests and these huge shoulders. I mean, their shoulders are bigger than their heads, and they're just ugly looking, and their shells are huge, and they're really taller than what they usually are. And of the turtles, I think Donatello looks the worst in my opinion. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's supposed to be the nerd of the group. Donatello has to have the glasses, and he has to have tape on the glasses, and he has to have all this tech gear around him. And it's just ridiculous. And that goes for all the turtles, in fact. One of my art teachers told me the KISS rule. The KISS stands for keep it simple, stupid. No one must have told these people about the KISS rule because they have just way too much stuff on the turtles. Besides the turtles, Splinter himself is even uglier than the turtles. He looks disgusting in this movie, I have to say. And I know, the rats aren't the best looking creatures in the world, but I mean, they don't have to look exactly like a rat. I mean, in the earlier movies, they kind of made them look kind of cute, so I don't see why they couldn't have done this here. He just looks disgusting. Well, I could go on and on and on about what I didn't like about this movie. It's that bad. So I'll just wrap it up here and give my final grade. Like I said, I give credit where credit's due. So it had good action, it had good special effects. There's some nice scenes. They got the personalities of the turtles right, so that's all good. But just the story, like I said, was way too convenient. Some things just didn't make sense. I hate that they took out Hamato Yoshi. So there's just so much that's wrong with this movie. But I can't give it an F for a failing grade since it did it did have some good action scenes, and there was parts that was entertaining. So I'm giving this movie a D minus. And so I'm Tony Beers, and I'll see you next time. Toxic Pop has a new Facebook page. Like it to see pictures and keep informed about our upcoming events and videos. A link is in the description. Go to www.facebook.com/toxicpop1.